Welcome, survivors, seekers, and thrivers. I'm your host, Shari Lee Roberts, psychic medium, energy healer, and living proof that you can transform your pain into power. Each episode, we dive into trauma healing, developing your intuitive gifts, and reclaiming your life. Get ready for real stories, deep wisdom, and a little laughter along the way.
Hello, and thank you for being here today. It is not by chance that you tuned in. My guest today has endured the unfathomable and has come out the other side. I am talking about Neal Tricarico. Yeah.
Perfect.
Oh, thank God. All right. In 2024, Neal, his wife, Samara, and daughter, Belina, lost a key part of their family. Their son and brother Anthony and the young age of 16. That was 2 years ago. Anthony sadly took his life. Now, Neal and I talked through messaging, and then earlier this week, I connected with Anthony. I talked a little bit with Neal before going live and really saved his okay that Anthony laid 2 days conversation. I'll say that my as you may know, I have gotten away from talking about the trauma that led us to healing. But Anthony is asking us to go back and talk about what led to him making that life-altering choice. Neal, welcome And thank you for your courage in all you've endured, what you're doing, and for your willingness to talk about Anthony.
Well, thank you for having me, Shari. I'm really grateful to be here and be on this show, and also to get to do it together with you and Ant.
Yes, and Ant is his nickname. Your son has a beautiful energy. Why don't you kick us off by talking about him being your oldest child and just your daughter, wife, family? How just take us back to sunny California when Ant was born.
Yes, thank you. Well, what a great question. It's part of his life that I love to lead into, and going all the way back to when Anthony was born. Actually, it's August 4th, 2007. So Tuesday would be his birthday, a day after my birthday, and my wife and I had difficulty having children, and we were blessed with Anthony. We really wanted him, and we were blessed to have him. And
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, his childhood was special. We had so many wonderful times together. Just a blessed childhood. We did a lot of camping through the YMCA Adventure Guides program, a lot of father-son camping, and his childhood seemed very rich and filling. At the age of 7, Anthony was diagnosed with high-functioning autism, and that's something he struggled with. The entirety of his life. It was not something that he wanted people to know about, and he worked very hard to mask so that people didn't know. But yeah, I would say like his childhood was beautiful. Anthony is someone who really lived for every moment. There was no moment well spent, and as he got older, the aspects of his diagnosis really settled in. The black and white thinking, high achievement really started to come in, as opposed to really truly being fulfilled or understanding fulfillment. But those early years together as a family were magical. We were very blessed to go on great trips, have wonderful experiences together. Like I said, do the camping, going to the beach. Anthony loved to rock climb. He was a martial artist. We loved snowboarding together. And in high school, he fell into depression during COVID, was diagnosed with depression. Mm-hmm. And that started a 2-year journey for us where he struggled with suicidal ideation. And we struggled to get him help because on the autism side of things, they didn't have experience or resources to help us around suicide. And then on the mental health side of things, they didn't have any unique protocols or ways to help someone on the spectrum. And so the deeper we got, kind of the more hopeless we felt, or he felt, excuse me. And, you know, I've heard it said that, mental health, the disease of mental health is also like cancer. Sometimes it's terminal. And
Yeah.
despite all of our best efforts, including his, he succumbed to this disease and got in a mixed up state and ended up dying by suicide. And we came to learn soon after, we weren't aware of this at all while he was alive, but children with this diagnosis of high functioning autism are nearly 30% more likely to die by suicide. And they're the group that has the largest completion rate. So that became a mission and a calling for my wife and I to try and help ensure that no other child or family would go through what we've gone through.
Can you give more details about the autism? How did that present?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Great question. Oh, go ahead.
No, let's do that, and then, yeah.
Yeah, sure. That sounds good. So, so very fascinating. I mean, from pretty early on, something seemed off, but every child's different and kids are different. But somewhere around 6 or so, he just seemed really anxious. And the moment that really led to us exploring diagnosis was he had pulled a big clump of hair out of his head. He had a big bald spot. And what it would take, I had imagined, to get that, it was a big,
my God.
spot.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of when we understood, like, hey, something seems off here. Let's learn some things. Let's see. We were curious, and that ultimately led to some steps that ultimately led to diagnosis.
Just to make sure people understand, was everything in your home marriage life good? I mean, was it normal?
Yeah, I mean, great question.
I mean, whatever normal is.
Yes. I mean, I think so. Comparison is tough, but I can tell you from my perspective, I felt immensely blessed. Just to, marriage is up and down, but just a beautiful, loving marriage with my wife. We were blessed with these 2 kids, blessed with this community that we live in here in San Diego, and tremendous weather and opportunities. I mean, normal or not, my life sure felt blessed. I was grateful every day, and truthfully, the autism, while challenging, because to know one kid with autism is to truly know one kid with autism. And what's so confusing about autism is the broad spectrum of it.
Yeah.
And there's so many different diagnoses within one word, autism. So, that was, but it seemed like, it's still, again, blessed, grateful, beautiful. I mean, maybe, there was additional work in terms of, he was going to the autism center like 4 times a week. We would meet with different people about it, but I didn't feel like I mean, even with his diagnosis, he was, quote unquote special needs, but I didn't always feel that way. And quite frankly, a lot of times, I would forget, because,
Awesome.
because this
Yeah.
particular, the high functioning, what used to be called Asperger's, I mean,
Yeah.
it's just a little different, but it wasn't like he was nonverbal or
Yeah.
needed some sort of in-home
Right.
care or anything. So yeah, answering your question, I feel not only was it normal, I feel very fortunate for those years. I felt really blessed.
And was he in normal classes in school and then incredibly intelligent,
Yes.
which that totally tracks. And athletic.
Yeah. So, well, good question. So on the one hand, yeah. So he was in, traditional. Well, I don't know what traditional. He was in public school, but we were really fortunate in our area. There was a Montessori charter school. So
Yeah.
he really thrived in Montessori preschool and Montessori kindergarten, and then this charter school came that was elementary Montessori school, and then even middle school Montessori school. So yeah, traditional in the sense that he was in a public school, non-traditional in the sense that it was Montessori was the format. So mixed ages. You have grades, if I remember correctly, grades 1 through 3 are together, and 4 through 6. And
Yeah.
the Maria Montessori, he thrived in that setting, in that
Yeah.
environment. And then he went to public high school, but yeah, very extremely intelligent. I mean, 4.6 grade point average, AP
Wow.
classes. And then it's interesting you mentioned like athletics and stuff. Well, he it wasn't like athletic per se. I mean, it's one of the things I noticed early on. And for me, I played team sports. I loved sports, and I could tell early on that wouldn't be his jam. But I wouldn't say he wasn't athletic, because he got his junior black belt, and
Oh,
did a bunch of
he.
individual sports, martial arts. But it's fascinating about the intelligence. So he was born August 4th, and that's like towards the end of the range. So I was born August 3rd, and I always felt like if my parents had kept me back a year, I would have excelled more in sports. So early on, before we knew anything about kind of how he was developing, we chose to hold him back. And then in elementary school, they're like, hey, he's got to skip a grade because like he's being held back because of his intelligence. So it's just
Yeah.
fascinating. But yeah, just
Yeah.
he thrived in that Montessori environment.
Yeah. Um, and he did end up getting into a lot more sports. Take us now to COVID, and oh my God, I just so many people, elders, older people, and kids suffered the most. I want you to share, but I almost don't want to. It's heartbreaking.
Yeah, I mean, I understand. I appreciate an interview like this. I wish I got to do more that were vulnerable and deep like this. So, it is heartbreaking, but I think the conversation is important
Yeah,
for anyone
yeah.
listening. COVID was such an interesting time because going through it, for me personally, like my work and everything was like so intense. And so like getting to be home, well, even though it was hard because all my income went away, but being home, the four of us, and being shut in for a while there, it was kind of beautiful. Like we were spending time together and just, and
Yeah.
you couldn't go anywhere, but quickly, it became clear for him, uh, that it was not good because he thrived being outdoors, being with his friends, interacting in a human way. So doing class on Zoom wasn't helpful for him.
Yeah.
Not getting to play with his friends every day, not getting to go fishing. And like part of the challenge was with his diagnosis and that black and white thinking, he was unwilling to quote unquote break the law, right? So during that time,
Oh,
there were
yeah.
so many rules and laws that didn't make sense, but it didn't
Yeah.
matter to him if it was a rule or a law, no matter. So for instance, the beaches and the fishing spots were closed, but that was so stupid. So I would be
Yeah.
like, hey, let's go fishing anyways. And it's like, no, we can't. It's illegal. And so he was laying in bed a lot and depressed, and it was really hard. I mean, even he played video games, but not a lot like his peers. But people were playing video games and connecting, and it was interesting because where before he played video games a bit, now he was unwilling to, and so. I didn't realize it at the time at all. It was really only until we learned of his suicidal ideation, a couple of years later or a year or so later, that impact. But I just remember, Christmas, him just being laid out on the couch, and yeah, with COVID was very, very difficult because he was depressed, and it was very difficult to help him.
Okay. So there was 2020
Hmm.
when the really oh when were those ridiculous restrictions
Hmm.
left dead in California. Yeah, I mean, you couldn't have been in a worse place. I'm
Well, I mean,
just,
yes and no, but without getting into politics and stuff, rules wise and restrictions wise, yes.
yeah,
Also, it felt like a very blessed place in terms of being able to go outdoors. But I'm sorry, was your
yeah,
question in there like
yeah,
what was life like after the restrictions or
yeah.
yeah? So you know, good. I mean, he re-engaged with his friends, was going out, being a kid. I mean, again, other than the autism, things seemed normal, but that was always the challenge in the teenage years was where does autism start and end, and where does being a teenager start and end?
Oh,
And Anthony
wow. Yeah.
graduated out of his autism services. And I think I didn't answer part of your earlier question about like the academics. Did he need help? That was another piece. Even because he was diagnosed, he could get an IEP, he could have special concessions. allowances that they create for, children with these diagnoses. But he refused, and he didn't even want the school to know about it. He didn't want the IEP. He didn't want any of these, concessions. But yeah, I would say when the restrictions were lifted, I think he dove into life and his friendships with even more zest. He started, going to the gym early, 5:30 in the morning, then doing school, and then the evening, training for some sort of marathon or Spartan race. So it almost feels like being down for so long, he just went after stuff. And that's part of the challenge too, because with all the masking and pretend, because by the time he got to high school, many of his friends, new friends especially, had no idea that he was high functioning autism or any of that. And I think that all of that masking, created so much exhaustion for him that became challenging.
Wow. Did you and your wife, were you into working out, doing? Okay, is that how he got into all of that?
I think in large part he saw us modeling that. I mean, his whole life, he saw his parents exercising, going to the gym, going to yoga, going to Pilates. There were different seasons across the 16 years of, exercise, physical fitness that my wife and I would do. But yeah, I think we had modeled that in large part for him. And also, he, whether it was rock climbing, whether it was martial arts, whether it was, I think that exercise was really good for him. I know it for certain. And I think he craved that. It became a coping mechanism for him. And then also, as such, I think it got overwhelming because he was, exercising so much in so many different ways. But yeah, he exercises, physical fitness is a big part of my family's life. And I think, it resonated with him too.
Yeah. Let's now just quickly talk about that lead up and him ending it. Did you talk about you and your wife learning about the suicidal ideology? I've talked with others who have that or no, and I am a mother of two, so my heart breaks just thinking about what you two and your daughter and parents, family, went through. Can you talk to that?
About the suicidal ideation period?
Yeah.
Yeah. So was like the spring of his freshman year. One of his best friend's mom reached out to us and shared with us that her son shared with her that Anthony shared with him that he was having suicidal ideation. And yeah, we were shocked. We didn't
Like,
know what to do. Yeah,
yeah,
that wasn't something we were aware of. And that's part of, another issue which we founded the nonprofit for, the Endurant Movement, is we had no idea about this stat, right? That these kids with this diagnosis are nearly 30% more likely to take their lives. Like, that would have been helpful to know
yep,
throughout the autism services. It's something like, for instance, in the United Kingdom that people are very aware of. So this wasn't something we anticipated or aware of that could be possible for him with this diagnosis. But
yeah,
yeah, we were shocked, but we did sort of what I think many do. We called the 988 hotline, got some information, went to the school, the counselor, all of us met. And initially, Anthony wasn't very happy that his friend had shared that. But we're so very grateful that he did. And I think in time, Anthony got over that, and we were able to talk openly about suicide, about his challenges, and we tried different things, getting him help, outpatient, inpatient, but it always seemed that two things. One, if you didn't have a plan to take your life, so if you have ideation, that's sort of one level. If you have a
yeah,
plan that you've thought through, that's an entirely different level. So since he didn't have a plan, we'd have these different episodes that seemed to happen around spring where he'd go into a deep depression. But inevitably, because there wasn't a plan, it was the three of us trying to figure it out. So in the spring of his sophomore year, he had a tremendous spring break, an amazing time, went fishing with his buddy and his buddy's family. And then I took him and a bunch of his buddies snowboarding, and it was a great week. He was super exhausted, and that exhaustion would lead to, the deep depression spells. And this time he said, I need to, I need to get help. I need to go in somewhere. So he really wanted to go into a inpatient facility, same kind of thing, but that didn't have a plan. We found a place, and he said on the drive down, he's like, I know what I need to do so that I can get in here. And we knew what he was talking about. He was going to have to articulate a plan, because that seemed to be the threshold. So,
okay,
they brought him back, and they came out and said, yeah, we should admit your son. He's got a plan to take his life. And on the one hand, we were relieved because this is what he wanted. But unfortunately, within a day or two, he called us and was just begging us to get him out. So, the facility didn't serve him. It was bright lights. They didn't have enough beds, so he was in a room with padded walls. As part of the process, they put you on medications, and he had never been on medications, but we were willing to try anything. Unfortunately, those medications led to more thoughts and ideation.
yep,
So we pulled him out of that, but that was in many ways, looking back on it, kind of the last hope. And then you fast forward to spring, his junior year, we were wanting to anticipate that it might be difficult over spring break, and we were starting to talk about that. And this was 2 weeks before spring break, and my wife and I went away to Palm Desert for a lover's weekend. We called it. We had a beautiful weekend. We were just hand in hand that morning, just recounting our blessings, how good we were feeling, how Anthony seemed to be in a good place. And by all accounts, Anthony was having that fun that weekend. His friend said it was an extraordinary weekend. He seemed so happy and joyous. But that Sunday, when we were still away, Sunday morning, he called his mom and said he was not feeling well. He was struggling with depression, and you know, we came home, and Anthony was so aware of his suicidal thoughts and ideation that he had plans for his senior project to do it on suicide prevention and the importance of using the word suicides so that we can destigmatize that word. But you know, we didn't like leave our trip early, but we came back, and he definitely seemed depressed, and we were talking with him, but it didn't seem like different than other of these depression experiences, maybe a little bit more, like, you know, but we gave him the space he wanted. We invited him to eat dinner with us. He wasn't up for it. We invited him to watch a show. He wasn't up for it. And then, you know, he said to us, I'm going to go get some fresh air. I'm going to go on a walk. And that was an important coping mechanism for him. Oftentimes in this depression, he would say that, I'm going to go get some fresh air. I'm going to go on a walk. He had this little girlfriend that lived up the street around the corner, just a little friend of his. And yeah, they would spend some time together. And that's what he said to us. And in some ways it seemed like any of the other times, and that seemed like a good idea. But unfortunately that particular night and that particular walk, he didn't come back from. He got in a mixed up state, I guess, and made a different decision, and didn't come back.
Anthony and you have probably heard this from him before. He is sorry. But he also realizes now that he didn't really remain here to experience and learn what he came here for. He chose the right family, and when push came to shove in COVID and a couple other unexpected things came, he couldn't do it. He couldn't fulfill his soul agreement. He loves that you and your wife and hopefully your daughter. No, you did all you could. Your daughter needs to know that she couldn't have changed anything. He loves you all. Okay, So if you still have time, will you share all of the amazing things that you're all doing since his passing?
Yeah, yes, but I definitely have time. I thank you for sharing that. I feel Anthony's love and also his sorrow and the end aspect of it. Life was a lot for him and too much, and for a lot of kids like him. And the work we're doing now is being led by him. It is hard because we don't understand all the pieces. Like, so when you say COVID and some other unexpected things, we don't really know what those unexpected things are, but we do know that this world got overwhelming for him. His love and care for other human beings was extraordinary. I mean, we whenever we went on vacation or out here, but like if we'd go to New York or something, for instance, and have a great meal in the city, we'd have leftovers, and inevitably there'd be a homeless person, and he would, we had some pretty good stuff, some of which at least my daughter and I would have enjoyed later.
Yeah.
He was like, no, we have to,
Yeah.
he would give the food to people. So I think he really struggled with how negative the world was and how hard the world was and how hard people were on each other, and he poured love and care into so many people, but least of whom himself. And so
can I
yeah,
share something along those lines from his and I conversation earlier this week?
yes, please.
Okay, let me find it. I can't. Okay. Hold on.
Yeah, take your time.
Thank you for bearing with me.
Sure.
He talks to that. Okay,
Yeah, take your time.
I'm going to paraphrase what he said was that he knew he was different from everyone else. You spoke to that. He took it deeper by saying he was an even in the same reality a lot of times that he and you, your family and others, you were here and he was here. And he was his soul is young, and he couldn't rectify how you could all be here and regardless of what he did, he could never quite get to all of you. Does that make any sense?
Yes, it does. It's hard because we loved him just the same.
I know. And he knows. He always felt like an enigma. He knows that you and Mama and sister family always tried to bring him in. It wasn't going to happen. He agreed to this. His soul did. And that's part of the conundrum of his soul. Now that he is on the other side, he is coming to understand it all. And
Thank you for that.
is incredibly proud of you, Mom, sister, all of you. Now, one last thing before you talk about what you're doing. And I'm going to say this with this has nothing to do with me. I'm not selling you anything, okay?
Mm-hmm.
He is saying that your next level up to what you are doing, which he loves and is a complete fan and supporter of, is understanding yourself and others on an energetic level. And when you do that, you're able to, I know for me, you're able to circumvent a lot of what we see as horrible things and provide an avenue to souls, to people, to put them on their path and to understand that taking your life doesn't change anything. Whether you're gonna deal with your stuff here or on the other side, your soul is going to deal with that. Okay, I'm getting off my chat box.
That's okay. I'm grateful for those insights. So thank you for taking the time to share them with me. It means a lot.
You're welcome. Tell us any words of wisdom you would like to share with people who will hear you, or and talk about more of what you're doing and how people can reach you.
Thank you. Thank you for that. So, this experience where our hearts were, broken wide open, and we were called to something greater. And so the work that we're doing covers two areas. Number one, through the Endurant Movement nonprofit. That's endurantmovement.org. That nonprofit exists to help teens and youth who may not feel seen. And so particularly our outcome is to close that gap between neurodiversity and suicide. So no teen, neurodiverse or otherwise, ever feels unseen, and certainly not to the point where they, may choose to end their lives. And that exists so that no other family has to go through what we've gone through, and to make the world aware of this correlation between neurodiversity and suicide so that we may save more lives. And that's our life's work. That's our mission. And then for me, I have found tremendous growth and transformation through my spiritual journey since Ant's transition. And for me, I established the Endurance Way and in my own sort of lane. So you can find more information about that at theenduranceWay.com. But the Endurance Way and I exist to help adults who have had loss, whatever loss it be. It doesn't have to be loss of a child, a parent, loved one, relationship, job, material things, whatever loss they're carrying, realize that they don't have to carry it alone, and that there's a possibility for even a life of destiny. And so, I don't know about words of wisdom, but what I would share in my journey is I've been blessed through the power of community and the love and support of our community. And some of those gifts included mediums who were supportive in helping us connect with Anthony during his hospitalization and ultimate transition, but also helped me understand that while I'm not having the life that I dreamed of or anticipated or even expected, that my destiny is still available to me, and that I don't have to suffer. Because if I'm suffering, then I'm incapacitated and I can't do good, and I can't complete what I came for, what Anthony came for, to spread love and light. And so what I've come to realize is that there's not a process for grief with a start and an end. This idea of closure is a complete lie. But what is possible is the availability of the duality of emotions, what I call both and, where on the one hand, it can carry extreme, extraordinary, unimaginable levels of pain and trauma, but it also creates the equal and opposite possibility for newer levels of love and connection and even intimacy and depth. I appreciate life so much more. And so now I've got this broad spectrum of emotion between unimaginable, take your breath away, pain, not suffering, but pain, and unimaginable levels of connection, joy, and love. And I want anyone who's suffering with loss or pain to understand that that's available to them as well. And what Anthony shared with me in a recent reading was that I'm involved, and I birthed the Endurance movement together with my wife. She feels more pulled to that work. I struggle because I want to help kids and families, and it's also a reminder for me of how hard it was, but I'm willing to do it. But in this work, it's like my lived experience. So what Anthony shared with us in a previous reading was that, Samara is going to work on sharing her lived experiences of the experiences that we shared when Ant was here. And I'm going to work on sharing the lived experiences that I'm having since he's been gone and since he's transitioned, so that other people might realize that what is possible and available to them, while it might not be what they hoped, dreamed, or expected, still has the possibility to have extraordinary impact and destiny. And so, my purpose in life is to be that transmitter of love and wisdom, and to continue to enjoy deep connection with other human beings in life's moment, and hopefully transform myself, and through that personal transformation, hopefully, inspire others to transform as well, and understand that it might not be the life that I expected, but there's still a possibility for an extraordinary life. And if you believe like I do, the moment I reunite with Anthony, it's not going to feel like a moment has passed. So why waste the time that's still here? I want to celebrate with him when I see him again, the work we did together in this way. And by not doing it and being in the fetal position, that would be a waste. And so that's the work I feel really pulled towards. And, I've created community and safe spaces to have these conversations and help adults who are suffering and in pain, but want to find a way forward.
You are the epitome of courageous. Is this your wife and daughter? What I would love is that we can get help to those kids who are still alive. Help them to circumvent them passing on before they are meant to. I don't know how yet, but perhaps you and I can team up and come up with something.
I like that. I like that very much.
Thinking with your vibe and knowledge and my intuitive abilities, we might be able to make a change. Also, it's interesting that Anthony was on the spectrum. I have clients who have neurodivergent kids. Some speak, others non-verbal, and I am able to help them. I'd love to talk with you to see what we might be able to do. Thank you. Thank you for, again, your courage and authenticity. Wow, this has been one of the most important, significant, and emotional conversations I have had.
Thank you for listening. If today's conversation resonated with you and you're ready to explore your own healing journey or intuitive gifts, I'd love to work with you. I offer psychic medium readings, energy healing sessions, and intuitive development guidance at shariroberts.org. And if you're not quite ready for a session, but want to be a part of the conversation in a supportive community, join my private Facebook group. The link is in the show notes. You can also connect with me on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. This is Shari Lee Roberts. Until next time, remember, you're never alone.